Hello and thanks for joining us again. Hispanic Heritage Month begins this week and wraps up on October 15th. We're very excited to share Montgomery County's Hispanic Heritage Month, where you will find cultural celebrations and other county and community programming open for all to enjoy, broken down by region within Montgomery County. More than 200,000 Latinos call Montgomery County home. That's up 30% compared to the last federal census data in 2010. The previous census reported showing that Latino children made up a higher percentage of the school population today. Close to 1 in 3 MCPS students are Latinos. In our county, you will find schools that have expanded programs to help students coming in from all over the world. There are now 6 schools that offer two-way immersion classes to help Spanish-speaking children at the elementary school level. Efforts like that have helped MCPS raise its graduation rate for limited English students by nearly 10% in the last 5 years. Montgomery College is also a resource for Latinos through the Hispanic Business and Training Institute. It offers classes in business entrepreneurship, professional development, and licensure. These classes are taught in Spanish or bilingual. This summer, Montgomery County opened up the procurement process to more Hispanic-owned businesses. We held a 3-part workshop on obtaining county contracts entirely in Spanish. Montgomery County's Spanish language health campaign, led by the Latino Health Initiative, used the Emmy Award-winning character La Abuelina to help encourage this community to take COVID seriously and get vaccinated. Those efforts saved lives and led to one of the highest vaccination rates among the Latino community nationwide. There are many events scheduled over the next 30 days and plenty of opportunities to celebrate Hispanic Heritage Month. Please join us as we honor and appreciate our Latino communities and their contribution to our county's history. Feliz Mes de la Herencia Hispana. This week we received the troubling update on the county's Thrive 2050 general plan. Thrive 2050 is the county's master planning document that's intended to guide all of our master plans moving forward over the next 3 decades. While it doesn't directly do the zoning itself, it was originally part of a joint proposal that included a zoning section that the council removed before moving this piece of the plan forward. So you're not seeing the planned zoning that was intended to accompany the document at the same time. This document is a very big deal to the future of this county because it lays out a framework for future zoning. It will influence our decisions over budget expenditures and our calculation billions of dollars that was dismissed by the council, or at least members of the council, by simply saying they didn't believe it. It affects educational investments, transportation infrastructure, economic development, and protecting our environment, creating more affordable housing, as well as our racial equity and social justice efforts. I'm glad the council decided to commission a racial equity and social justice review of Thrive, because that was not done by the planning board originally. This review was conducted quickly, too quickly, because of the time constraints, and was intended to solidify the plan moving forward, but it's actually done the opposite. We now have more questions than we have answers. This week, I sent a letter to the county council encouraging them to not move forward on Thrive until fundamental issues with the plan and concerns regarding the lack of equity and community involvement are resolved. These are issues I've been raising since Thrive first surfaced. I've tweeted out a link to the letter, which I've pinned at the top of my Twitter profile. It's also on my Facebook page. I encourage everyone to watch a presentation of that review given to the county council earlier this week if you haven't already. Here are some of what the reviewers said. Generally, we found a lukewarm reaction to Thrive's policies among our target demographic. While we received some positive feedback, many people expressed frustration due to a perceived lack of context, sensitivity, and approach that did not go far enough to consider and prioritize the needs of the working class communities. Some folks expressed skepticism around the successful plan implementation and felt that adverse unintended consequences were likely in their communities if certain safeguards were not reinforced in the methodology. Additionally, there were many who felt that the prior community engagement efforts were not adequate and that the plan did not reflect a truly participatory process. The 3 main issues were identified being the primary problems with Thrive 2050 outreach: a lack of demographic data gathering, lack of racial representation in early phases of engagement, and lack of transparency and clarity about the stakeholder and community outreach process, In general, the report said, for all plan chapters, the how we will evaluate progress sections need to include establishing specific targets for equity outcomes. For example, establish criteria to support Black-owned businesses' recruitment and retention. After revising Thrive, note that they're saying Thrive needs to be revised, revisit with low-income and BIPOC communities to make sure communities can support the policies before passing the document. Allow more time and resources to complete drafting a racial equity and social justice review. Conduct a housing study that will seek to address displacement fears by the community, determine how to achieve growth targets, and identify barriers to successful implementation. Establish working relationships with communities that prioritize participatory planning and delegate power to vulnerable communities. The feedback gathered by the team and the significant changes they recommend is why I have urged the Council to disapprove Thrive 2050 plan as it's written. The Council does not have time to revise Thrive before the statutory deadline, which is October 25th. It simply cannot be done in that time. The previous housing element, which is only 10 years old, had more concrete solutions for affordable housing than this document has. Thrive 2050 doesn't even come close to what the other document provided for affordable housing. There's no plan or location where affordable housing is to go, no concrete policies to achieve housing goals other than asserting that if more multifamily housing were built in single-family neighborhoods, the supply of housing would increase and drive down the price of housing. This contradicts a different park and planning study that looked at that model and concluded that new housing would be the same or more expensive than the units they replace. You could have also asked any real estate agent who would have told you that new housing would be built to meet the market point in any given neighborhood. There's absolutely no urgency to pushing this plan forward. It's been presented as a solution for affordable housing, but the county already has more than 30,000 units in the pipeline that have been approved. So it's not like Thrive 2050 is necessary to find places to build housing. The challenge is getting developers to build what they've already been approved to build. The place and number of units have been identified, in some cases for a very long time. The problem we face is why it has not been built. More on that at a later date. We need to get this done right. We still want to give our community the best roadmap moving forward. It just may take more time to draw up that map. Also this week, we had an opportunity to celebrate the reopening of an apartment complex in Rockville that highlights what we as a county are doing to help protect tenants from displacement while protecting, preserving, and producing dedicated affordable housing. Parkside Landing is a beautiful and affordable rental community near Dogwood Park here in Rockville, and within walking distance of downtown and the metro station. This complex could have been the latest older community turned into a market rate apartment with sky-high rents. Instead, we worked with property owners to lend them a little over $5 million. Other funding partners crucial to this project included the City of Rockville, Maryland Department of Housing and Community Development, and HUD. Rockville Housing Enterprises used the financing package to preserve 118 affordable units and produce 59 additional affordable units. With this project, we protected the affordable housing already in place and also created new affordable units for renters. This fiscal year, we have $140 million earmarked for affordable housing. $100 million of that will be used for capital lending, which is 2.5 times the amount that we spent on affordable housing in previous budgets. $100 million of county financing can produce or preserve up to 2,000 dedicated affordable housing units. We've already dedicated at least $40 million of that capital lending to keep 700 units facing increasing rent pressures affordable, like properties near the forthcoming Purple Line. What we don't want to see is more of our affordable housing options lost to market adjustments and new development. We only have around 22,000 naturally occurring affordable housing units surviving today, which is down from 45,000 units that existed in 2000. If we don't make moves like this, our affordable housing options will continue to disappear. Failing to focus on affordable housing will lead to the loss of our workforce. Years ago, it was teachers and firefighters and other public servants that needed this protection. Now more people every day fall into the category of not making enough money to keep up with soaring home prices and rent prices. We have to think about who we serve and how to help them. This is a very different Montgomery County than we planned 4 years ago, which is why the old solution for affordable housing, our MPDU program, just isn't working now. Over the next several months, you'll see more updates on progress we're making toward production, preserving, and protecting affordable housing. I look forward to continued updates as we move forward with the development of those units. On 18 separate county-owned properties throughout the county, we are already soliciting proposals from the developers. Just this month, the Department of General Services issued a series of requests for developer proposals for county-owned sites in Bethesda, Silver Spring, Glenmont, Rockville, and Wheaton to ensure that we are using every tool at our disposal to build more affordable housing units. This week, our COVID-19 community level remains low. Case rates continue to decline and our hospitalizations from COVID have decreased by about 25% over the last month. I continue to encourage everyone to get vaccinated and stay up to date on the booster shots. The newly authorized vaccine boosters are designed to protect against the Omicron strains. They're called bivalent, meaning that they address both the original strain and the most recent Omicron strains. Bivalent boosters are meant for anyone 12 and up who hasn't had a booster in the last 2 months. They've replaced the boosters we had been giving out for months now and are the only boosters that are available now. They're available through the county, but many more have also been shipped to our local doctors and pharmacies. So the county is no longer the largest provider of these vaccines, and there are lots of options available in the community. The new boosters are critical to ensuring that we don't have another winter like last year. It's imperative that folks get their shot over the upcoming weeks before the weather gets cold. Everyone's going to be inside more often. The virus becomes more transmissible the closer people are. We know how to best beat COVID, and it is the vaccines. Yet there's still a myth that getting a vaccine doesn't matter because you can still get sick anyway. Vaccines do matter, and the data bears it out. We're sharing these charts detailing hospitalization and death rate differences between the vaccinated and unvaccinated and the boosted every week because real people are still dying, and most of them are people not protecting themselves. Please share the information with loved ones because vaccinations can be lifesavers. We can't turn the clock back on this virus. Every time we do, it reappears. This Saturday is the 30th annual Pools Day Festival from 10 a.m. to 4 p.m. This is a free event that also includes a 5K run walk, a classic car show, and, my personal favorite, the largest national drive electric vehicle show in the world. Last year, more than 260 electric vehicles were featured, and more are expected this year. If you're an EV owner and a general car aficionado like I am, or you're considering making a switch to electric vehicle, Poolesville is where you want to be this weekend to meet the owners, manufacturers, to learn about all the tax credits and rebates you can earn by purchasing an EV. I want to thank the residents of Poolesville, and specifically the folks at Poolesville Green, for their continued support and advocacy toward our climate action plan goals and sustainability efforts. Please go to poolesvilleday.com for more information. This Sunday in Wheaton, we will host the 9th annual Friendship Day picnic. The goal is to bring together everyone in this highly diverse community. This picnic runs from noon till 5 p.m. at Wheaton Regional Park. This is a free event, is an initiative of Montgomery County Committee Against Hate and Violence. This event features many kid-friendly activities like a petting zoo, music, and dancing. There'll be free kosher, halal, and vegetarian lunch options that will be available along with traditional picnic offerings. There's no need to register or bring your own food to the picnic. Our Friendship Picnic is a wonderful opportunity to come together and say hi to neighbors and make new friends. It is events like this that help Montgomery County be safer from hate and violence. We hope to see you there. That's all for now. Have a great week and see you soon.